and they really gave us a serious education in aspects of civil rights. We were very aware of the condition of African Americans as children, visiting family in the United States from Canada. And they were also at the forefront. I used to go for Soviet Jewry demonstrations with my grandparents and their friends, and my parents and their friends, and my sister and our friends. So very much committed to human rights. So, and I was the student, the chairperson of the student struggle for Soviet Jewry in Canada. And as a kid, a naive kid with not too much fear, I spent 3.5 weeks in Moscow and Leningrad at the time with a friend, Stephen Singerman, visiting the Refusenik community and bringing them messages from outside and assistance, and then bringing back messages. And at the time, I had the amazing fortune to meet many Refuseniks, including Natan's brother and mother, who came in. They were in internal exile, came in to meet us in Moscow. And then I was also, I think from that experience, ended up being very active in the anti-apartheid movement. I became the chairperson of the African National Congress Solidarity Committee, and went to South Africa as well, and was sort of involved in that struggle in the 80s and 90s. So to sit with these two incredible people, it's really a special honor.
I think anti-Semitism will be ended when the whole world stands up and demand that this evil be stopped, be challenged. I got inspired by, I knew him then as Anatoly Sharansky. When I read about what he was doing in the Soviet jail, prison, I said, I better get busy and start writing also. And I wrote a letter to my brother Sharansky on September 4th, 1978. The prison authorities in Moscow refused to give him the letter. And I was working with Tish Brazil, my trusted associate in the Black Jewish Action Alliance. I found at the bottom of a pasteboard box a 50-year-old letter. And he never got a chance to receive it, so part of my address, if you don't mind, I'm going to read him the letter. As a result of this work, there was an unbreakable bond and solidarity between Dr. King and Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel. I also remember months before the historic and transformative March on Washington in August of 1963, Rabbi Heschel emphasized, quote, "Racism is man's greatest threat to humanity, the maximum of hatred for a minimum of reason," unquote. Rabbi Heschel condemned racism as a moral and theological evil that linked Black and Jewish struggles for righteousness, justice, freedom, and equality. In a speech to the American Jewish Congress in 1965 in New York, 3 years before Dr. King was assassinated in Memphis, Tennessee, Dr. King proclaimed, quote, "The Negroes are not the only people who have suffered. The Jews went through the horrors of oppression, and more than any other people, the Jewish people understand the depths of tragic suffering. And it has been the Jewish people who have stood beside us in the struggle for freedom," unquote.
We live in a society and a time when I think people are predisposed to be a bit more individualistic. They spend a lot of time in social media, fragmented, even away from their families. Families are also in a different position than they were a generation ago. What's your message to young people, African Americans, Jews in the diaspora, at this time of an emergency, the explosion of anti-democratic values anti-Semitism, xenophobia, racism. What's your message to young people?
I never felt while in prison that I am sacrificed. In fact, the most enjoyable part of my life is prison. And you understand, I spent many years in solitary confinement. I spent 405 days in the punishing cell. I spent 130 days in hunger strike. So it's not enjoyable, but it's so meaningful. It's the place where you know exactly where is clean glass and where is dirty glass. You know exactly where are your enemies and where are your friends. You have such a moral clarity. You know that you feel yourself very deeply in history. It's so easy to feel solidarity with people who lived thousands of years ago, or even the people who live in the literature. You really understand them. You feel it, the struggle. So you can never reach such moral clarity in politics when you're in the government. Never. So I would not speak about sacrifice. But I believe that all people want meaningful life. They want, and well, of course, some are lucky go to prison. There they find meaningful life. But you cannot expect it from everybody. And meaningful. Well, we saw it now in Israel with all our at some moment when people see meaning in this defending Israel, how immediately they are mobilized. The number of volunteers is much bigger than the army needs. So, and when young people look for meaningful life, and that's what I'm saying. Oh, you want tikkun olam? If you don't want tikkun olam, you're not Jewish. If you're Jewish, you want tikkun olam, yeah? So, you want tikkun olam needs a lot of strength, a lot of energy. And you will not find this source of this energy without your roots, without your identity, and at the same time, without feeling how freedom is important. And I think that the moment people feel that, well, they all want meaning, but they feel that they can reach this meaningful life. So they're becoming much more loyal to the values that we're talking about.